Hello and welcome to neo-varsity live. I'm Dave Cassilo. I got Scott-Patsko and Joe Noga with us tonight, and we'll be talking about everything that's going on in high school football in Northeast Ohio. You can get involved in the conversation too. Just tweet at us using hashtag neo-varsity, or scroll down on the page you're watching right now. There's a comment section down there, and ask a question. We're going to have players Frank Sumpter of Glenville and Brian Hunter of Mayfield on later. If you want us to ask them anything, we'd love to hear from you. But we're going to start things off here with something called opening kickoff. We're going to have some quick back and forth answers. Feel free to share your own answers using the hashtag I mentioned earlier. And we'll start things off now. First question being, what shocked you the most from week 6?
You know, when I saw the weather, I was expecting more delays. I was shocked that none of the games got pushed over to Saturday. When you look at how things went the last couple of years, I was kind of shocked by that.
Joe?
I'm going to go on the player side of things. Andy Isabella from Mayfield rushed for 190 yards against a Solon defense that up until that point this season had been really solid. So his rushing total really sort of jumped off the page.
All right, who's the best local team in Division II?
I have Nordonia ranked at the top of my rankings. Right now, I think it's close with Bedford, but I'm going to go with Nordonia.
Joe?
I'll take the easy one. That's Bedford. Their ground attack cannot be stopped at this point right now.
Benedictine, they were thought as a state title contender early in the year, but Jerome Baker's been hurt. They lost to Bedford. Are they still a state title contender?
I think so. When you look at what they've done the last few weeks without Baker, I think that shows how impressive that team is with depth, so I would say yeah.
Joe?
Absolutely. Scott mentioned depth. I just mentioned the front line talent. It's all D1 prospects.
Now, Kirtland, always a strong contender to finish the regular season undefeated and then win a state title. What are the chances they go 15-0 this year?
I'm not going to make it really high. I'm going to say 70%. Even last year, they needed a last-second field goal to get to the final. I think they're obviously the favorite, but I'm going to put it around 70.
Joe?
I'll put it in the 90s. Their ground game, again, is really hard to beat.
Conference that seems to be getting better each week, the Southwestern Conference. Who wins that?
I'm going to go with Bremen Park. I think they're hitting their stride at the right time. They're a fourth quarter comeback from Strongsville away from being 6-0.
Joe?
Brecksville's got the experience. They've been there before. I think they repeat.
All right, guys, you've been in a lot of press boxes for football. What's the best press food you've ever eaten?
You know, I'm going to play it safe here. I think any press box that's willing to feed me for free is the best food, so I'm going to come out on that one.
Joe?
Hey, I haven't missed a lot of meals in press boxes. A few years back, I remember Westlake, the boosters, the moms had hand-wrapped turkey wraps that were just delicious. It was great.
Sound really good. Who's the best player that no one's talking about right now?
I think Avon running back Garrett Choate. He had a great year last year as a sophomore. He was banged up early in the preseason. They didn't really need him a lot. I think he's one of the best running backs in the area.
Joe?
I think the player who's gotten a lot of press, but throughout the first part of the season really been pretty quiet. Sean Crawford of St. Edward. I don't expect that to be the case for the remainder of the season. He's got some pretty big games coming up.
All right, a lot of great signal callers in the area. Who's the best junior quarterback?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Avon and say Jake Sopko. He's a big kid, strong arm, and I think we're going to hear a lot about college offers here over the next year for him.
I'm going to make the folks here who were in attendance real happy again. Mention another Mayfield player, Mario Monastero, junior quarterback for Mayfield, is having a pretty good season.
For all the positives, there are some negatives this year. Who's the biggest disappointment in 2014?
You know, I'm going to go with this question a little differently. I'm going to say the injury to Alex Stump is kind of a big disappointment, because looking at somebody who's losing their senior season like that, or at least the most of it, is really kind of disappointing to see. So I'd say there's injury.
Joe?
I have Rush in the way they've sort of underperformed. I thought coming into the season, Rush had a lot of Division I talent, college talent on that team, and the 1-5 record really doesn't look well to them.
Who's more likely to go undefeated, Aurora or Madison?
I'm going to say Madison. I think they have to get past a tough Week 10 game in Riverside, but I think their path is a little clearer than Aurora's.
Joe?
Yeah, I agree. Madison's shown that they're a very strong team. I think they've got a little bit easier path to a 10-0 season.
League that's put together some playoff teams over the last couple of years, the Patriot. Who's the better team, Columbia or Keystone?
I'm going to go with Columbia right now. I think they've had maybe a little more quality wins, so I'd say that right now.
Joe?
Keystone got a big win last week against Firelands, but I'll say Columbia as well. They've got the experience as well.
Last question, very quickly, most important game of Week 7?
You know, I think it's Mentor and Brunswick. A lot of people look at that as maybe a big Mentor win, but I think Brunswick has a lot to play for in that.
Joe.
Mayfield-Stowe, winner of that game, really has the inside track on the River Division in the NFC.
Great. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see how your predictions hold up during the course of the week. Now we're going to move on to our pop quiz that we have every week, and we're about to ask you a question, and if you use the hashtag neo-varsity or go down in the comment section, you'll be able to give the answer, and then a little later on in the show we'll reveal if you were correct or if you were incorrect. This week's question, in the cleveland.com top 25 poll for football this week, who made the biggest jump in the rankings? Is it A, Aurora, B, Brecksville, C, Mayfield, or D, Kirtland? So either go on Twitter or in the comment section, jump in there, give your answer, and we'll reveal it by the end of the show. But right now we are joined by Frank Sumpter of Glenville and Brian Hunter of Mayfield, two very talented defenders, and we're about to put them on the defensive with these questions here, and we'll start things off. Question for both of you guys. What's the best part about playing defense, Frank?
I would say the best part about playing defense is you can hit somebody at any time. And I like getting in the receiver's head, you know.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I like to agree with getting inside the offensive lineman's head, because once you get inside their head, they don't know what to do. So they're always guessing, and then you just go get a play, and then they're just done.
Who are some defenders that you like to watch in the NFL, Frank?
Number one is Joe Hayden, and number two is Richard Sherman.
All right.
Both of them.
What about you, Brian?
Ray Rice before. He's an offensive player, but Ray Rice offensively, defensively, I have to say J.J. Watt. He's just an animal.
All right. Now, both of you seem to get a good jump on what's going on defense. What do you pay attention to before the ball is snapped?
Before the ball is snapped, I look at the quarterback eyes to see if he looks back at me or something. But if he does, then I know the ball's coming my way, and I just try to make a play on it.
What about you, Brian?
Before the snap, I'm usually trying to look at my coach to get the play, because a lot of times it's like he's just trying to hurry up and get the plays in. So most of the time I'm looking at him, and then I'm getting down in my stance to look at the lineman.
Brian, what's it like to get a sack?
Getting a sack, it's like, it feels good, because it's a lot of hard work getting there, and it's like most of the time you're like 2 steps away before he gets the ball off, and just being able to get there in time, it's just like a sigh of relief. Like, yes, I finally did it.
And Frank, you had the opportunity to have Dante Whitner come out to Glenville before the season. What was that like for you as a defensive back?
It was a great experience. I mean, he inspired me a lot. And when he came, he just is living proof that you can make it out of any city to NFL.
Now, Brian, you guys played one of the most thrilling games of the year in Week 1 against Nordonia. Unfortunately for you, you lost in overtime. But what did you learn from that game?
I learned that Mayfield football, we can play against any good team. Coming into the season, no one thought we were going to win. No one thought we were going to play close to them. But we proved that in Mayfield football, we can play with just about anybody.
Now, Frank, it seems like everyone considers Glenville their rival. But who do you consider your biggest rival, and what's it like to play in those games?
Honestly, we really don't have a rival. I would say the biggest rival is Edge. I mean, it's a great experience. They have a great program.
Now, you both talked about why you like to play defense, but what's the toughest thing about playing defense? Frank, why don't you start off?
The toughest thing about playing defense is sometimes you look in the backfield and the ball can ease over your head.
What about you, Brian?
Toughest part about defense is rallying up with the guys after offense makes a big play. My coach always says the game is built around offense, and offense, they're going to make plays, especially if it's a good team. And defense, the toughest thing to do is to keep our guys heads up and keep them focused on the goal to win.
All right, another team's offense has done the impossible. They've gotten into the red zone against you guys. What is your mindset? What are you trying to do when the team's in the red zone? Frank?
I mean, at that point, you got to bite down your mouthpiece and just man up and try to make something out of it.
Brian?
When I'm in the red zone, I'm just like, that's my goal line behind me. I got to protect it. I just look around and I tell my boys, we got to do what we got to do. It's time to man up.
Now, Frank, you're on defense, but what do you do when your offense is on the field?
Well, I play both ways. I play wide receiver and defensive back. So, I mean, sometimes I'm in, sometimes I'm not. I just try to lift up my teammates.
And what do you do when you're not in? What do you pay attention to?
Well, I try to pay attention to the momentum of the game. Which team has momentum. Try to get the ball back.
And Brian, what do you pay attention to when you're on the sideline?
I usually pay attention to the offense, try to get them going, try to get everyone on the sideline. all excited. You know, trying to keep the sideline involved in the game, because when the sideline is involved in the game, that's usually more positive for us.
All right, great. Well, good answers, guys. We'll get you back later with some tougher questions, I think, because they're not really football related. But right now, we're going to throw it to some post-game interviews from some of the best week's action from Week 6. So check it out. These were the games that cleveland.com reporters were at.
Outside for me, but if our line's doing a great job, so I mean, I can't say anything bad about them, but yeah, it was a little tough in the second half.
Yeah, all week we talked about just containing the run game, doing our job as a team, and hopefully it'd come together. Did a great job coaching us up this week. Really made sure just to contain the run. That was the #1 focus. I think linebackers did a great job. We got some good pressure on the quarterback, and it fell our way. It's a great win. Enjoy it tonight, really, but get back at it Monday. Get ready for someone, I guess.
Okay.
So. We always have a lot of confidence going to these big games. Coach Surdy, Coach Carbone, all the coaches put a lot of time in, film. They put together a great game plan, and we just executed that. Well, it's a great passing game, and Mitch obviously is a great runner himself. It opens up a lot for the tailbacks, and he's got a couple opportunities. Line had a couple huge holes, and we broke a few, and it was well needed. Yeah, we needed to start that run game going.
There you go.
We obviously had some issues passing the ball tonight because of the weather. So coming to halftime, coach looked at me and said, "Poland, get ready because you're getting the ball." So I'm ready. I'm ready to be the horse of this team and just drive down deep and get those touchdowns. It's great. We're trying to make history in Keystone football, which is Keystone football has never made it to playoffs in our school history. So that's something our goal is. That and to win conference, so we're getting to that. I mean, it's great, especially like a good team like Firelands, they came out hard, they weren't backing down, so, I mean, get the hard ones out of the way and just keep on running.
And how are you feeling right now?
Good. I had a little ankle injury, a guy came down on my ankle wrong, get some ice, I'll be back for week 7 against my old school, Wellington.
All right, welcome back. Each Tuesday here on cleveland.com, we post a topic that we ask for your input on, and we use it for our high school roundtable discussion. Each week, we also kind of give you a poll, and we let you kind of vote your opinion on there. One of the topics this week kind of kept with our defensive theme, I guess, of this show, and it was which team in Northeast Ohio has the best defense. And before the show, the numbers were kind of close. We gave you a few options, and we also gave you the chance to put in your own. St. Edward was leading slightly with about 27% ahead of Hudson. I kind of went back and forth a little bit during the day. Bedford came in 3rd. There were some others. Nordonia got about 10 votes among those. Mentor as well. So there's a lot of options, a lot of different thoughts on this. What's your take on who has the best defense?
Well, you've got to look at Mentor as being a team who brings back a lot of talent this year up front. Nicolaiman and that defensive line was really able to, in their game against St. Ignatius in week 2, sort of contain the Wildcats when they had to. Their offense sort of let them down a little bit, throwing a pick 6. Other than that, giving up 27 points in that game was pretty good. Their schedule might not bear it out up to this point. I think 14 points the most scored against them, but we'll see, and they'll be tested in the next couple of weeks, particularly in week 9 against Hudson.
I'm going to stay in Division 1. I think I'm going with St. Edward. I've seen them a few times, and even in the losses they've had recently, the defense played well and kept those games low scoring. I think they're going to end up with maybe at least six Division 1 recruits off that defense until somebody shows that they can go up and down the field on them and score a lot of points. I'm going to consider them tops in Northeast Ohio.
Again, we want to remind those of you out there who are following along on Twitter, in the comments, go ahead and jump in. Feel free at any time to interact with us, give us questions. Brian and Frank will be back out here if you want to leave a question that we can ask them. That'd be great. But next up on neo-varsity live is the game time segment, and we are joined by Ricky Simcic of Madison. Ricky, good to have you here.
Yeah, great talking to you.
All right, Ricky, big game coming up this weekend. The Blue Streaks are taking on Willoughby South. How's the preparation been this week for the game?
Obviously intense. We know who their players are. We know that on defense we have to swim after them, and on offense we have to limit our critical errors such as turning over the ball and take care of it.
Willoughby's coming off a win over a team you beat 2 weeks ago in Chardon. That was a game where your offense sort of put the ball on the field a couple of times. A lot of fumbles in slick conditions. Defensively, when you guys go out there after a turnover, what's the mindset?
Well, first off, we always tell each other, how we ask each other how do we respond, So really, when we go out there, we're asking each other, how do we respond? How are we going to react to this situation? How are we going to deal with it? And then, get a positive mindset and we just go do what has to be done.
All right, Ricky. Well, the name of the segment is Game Time. You want to have a little fun and play one of our games with us?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The game's called Out of the Blue, and we based it off of the Blue Streaks nickname. There's 6 teams in Ohio, 6 schools that have the nickname Blue Streaks, Madison being one of them. So I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and I'm going to give you a school's name, and you got to tell me whether they're the Blue Streaks or another blue-themed mascot. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Uniontown Lake.
No.
Uniontown Lake is the Blue Streaks. They're from Hartville. Next up is Brunswick.
No.
Correct. The Brunswick Blue Devils. Beaumont High School.
No.
They are the Beaumont Blue Streaks, all-girls school on the east side of Cleveland. Archbold.
Blue team?
They are the Archbold Blue Streaks.
Yeah.
Delphos St. John's.
No.
Correct. They are the Blue Jays. And one more before we're off. Washington Courthouse.
Yes.
Washington Courthouse is the Blue Lions. The other Blue Streaks team in Ohio is Sandusky. Magnificat also. Ricky, you don't know your Blue Streaks. What's
Yeah, apparently not.
All right. As far as looking at the Premier Conference race the rest of the way out, and the Division II Region 3 standings, what do the Blue Streaks need to do to finish strong and get themselves a high seed in the playoffs?
Well, obviously we got to beat South first off, and then just keep our mind right and finish off strong. Just win the rest of the games, and everything after that will fall into place.
All right, Ricky. Well, it was a real pleasure having you on for the game show, and best of luck this week against Willoughby South and for the rest of the season in the playoffs.
Thank you.
All right. Throughout the week, cleveland.com has promoted our Player of the Year watch for offensive and defensive players. This week, we asked readers and users to vote in the polls, and we're going to show you some results as of about 5 o'clock today. We have leaders on the offensive side. David Murray of Nordonia, the quarterback there, 353 votes for David. Nick Gassman of Berea Mid-Park, 231 votes. And Mitch Godani, 210 votes. Defensively, Jay Bullock with 798 votes there, and Mike Church of Elyria, 740 votes. Close behind, Denzel Ward from Nordonia is in third place with 663 votes. Continue to vote in the polls throughout the week, and we'll get the results to you on next week's show as well.
All right, we're back now with Frank Sumpter and Brian Hunter, and we're going to play, we're going to do our second Pep Talk session, but before that, we got a tweet from a fan of yours, Frank, and she's got a question for you. This is from VH on Twitter. What's the biggest challenge for you when covering a defense when your team is losing?
The biggest challenge is stopping the offense, not letting them score anymore, and try to win the game.
All right, great. We're hopefully we've got a couple more comments for you guys. So, but for now, we're going to go back to Pep Talk. You talk about who's your favorite defensive players. Who is the best defender in the NFL right now, Frank?
I would say Richard Sherman.
Yeah, I would agree too.
Richard Sherman? All right. What song pumps you up the most before games, Frank? Is there a music artist you like to listen to?
Yeah, I like Jay-Z.
Jay-Z? All right. Brian, what about you?
I listen to a couple. I listen to a little bit of heavy metal. I listen to a lot of crazy things that get me pumped up. I listen to some hip hop, some Childish Gambino, just a little bit of everything.
All right, great. Aside from music, do you have any pregame superstitions, Frank?
No, not really.
What about you, Brian?
At one point, before the season started, I used to keep coins in my socks
Okay.
until we lost. And then after we lost, I wore a shirt that I got from a college visit.
Mhm.
And I wore it ever since we played Nordonia. And we've won ever since. So
What was the thing behind coins in the socks?
I really don't know. I was trying to come up with something, and I was trying to come up with something different.
All right, sounds good. What's the hardest class you're taking in school right now, Frank?
I would say pre-calculus is the hardest.
Yeah, I remember it being difficult for me. Brian?
My hardest class right now would probably be, I'm in a medical program in school, and the vocab and definitions and things like that can get hard.
Yeah, definitely. What is something that your coach says all the time, Frank?
Well, a defensive coach, he always says, when in doubt, hit somebody.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
Our defensive coach, he's always saying, let's go, let's get after it, let's eat some faces, just
All right,
crazy.
sounds good. Some words to live by here. If they were making a movie about your life, who would play you, Frank?
I would say my little cousin.
Your little cousin? All right. What about you, Brian?
Oh man, I'm not even entirely sure about that question.
All right, we'll move on. Better think about it if you guys get really famous. Now, what celebrity do you want to meet the most, Frank?
LeBron James.
LeBron? Well, he's closer now. He might have a better chance.
Right.
Brian?
I would love to meet probably Barack Obama, actually.
Barack Obama?
Because he's the man. Like he's the top dog. So Barack Obama.
Now, if you could intercept any quarterback ever, who would you want to pick off?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady? And if you could sack any quarterback ever, who would you want to sack?
Oh man, I would want to sack. Probably Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben
Yeah,
Roethlisberger?
he's a big dude, so if I can get him down, that'd be good.
Well, a lot of fans around here are happy with that. If you could have a superpower, what would it be, Frank?
I would say jump super high.
Jump.
Intercept the ball.
What about you?
Invisibility.
Invisibility?
Yeah, they couldn't see me, so they couldn't block me.
Yeah, there you go. You can start off signs if you want.
Yeah.
What is your hidden talent if you have one? Frank?
Basketball.
Basketball?
Yeah.
And what about you?
My hidden talent. I don't know if I have any hidden talents. I'm pretty much like the average kid, I just play football.
Alright. Now, Brian Moore is doing pretty well for the Browns, and the Cavs season tips off in about 3 weeks from now. Who starts first? LeBron James or Johnny Manziel?
LeBron James.
All right, and if you had to make a pick now in the NFL, who's the best team? Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Frank?
Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, can't go wrong with Browns.
Can't go wrong with the Browns. Who are they going to play? Who's your opponents for them?
Steelers.
Steelers?
Yeah.
I want them to play the Ravens again.
Ravens? All right, sounds good. Now, when you're getting ready for a game and you're on the road, what is something that you always try to make sure you have done beforehand, whether it be homework or making sure your uniform's packed the night before? What is your sort of road preparation?
Yes, make sure everything is neat and uniform is clean. I have my cleats in my bag.
Yes, Sam, I like to have all my things ready and set to go. Coach, he always makes sure everyone has everything, so we're not scrambling at the last minute.
What is your favorite sports apparel? Is it Nike, Under Armour? What do you like to wear?
I like Nike.
Nike?
Yeah, everything's pretty much Nike for me.
All right, great. And you guys are going to probably go on to successful college careers. When you're making that choice, what's something that really sticks out to you? What's important to you in a college, Frank?
I would say the education and the location of the college.
What about you, Frank?
Yeah, education for one, and the brotherhood of the college. I mean, whatever college I go to, I like to be close as if I've never transitioned to another team.
Great. And last question for both of you. If you guys win a state title, who's the first person you're calling? Frank.
My coach.
Your coach? Brian.
I'm going to call my coach, and then right after that, I'm going to call my dad. all
right. Sounds good. Well, guys, I appreciate you having you on. They did great. And watch them this week. They both got big games. We've got Frank is playing Rhodes, and Brian Mayfield is playing Stowe. So some big games to watch out for. Now we're going to move on to the pop quiz answer. Earlier in the show, we asked you what team made the biggest jump in the top 25 poll. And the answer is C, Mayfield. And Mayfield, we just have Brian on. They had a big win against Solon, and they can jump up a little higher if they do well this week. Now, before we get into the last segment, each week we ask you to submit videos, whether it be through Instagram or just through a video you take on your phone and send it to us. Well, we didn't get any this week, but if you want to submit any and have them live on the show, use hashtag neo-varsity, and we'd love to put them on there because we know there's a lot of exciting plays going on throughout Northeast Ohio. So the last segment now, it's prediction time. And every week we do our what could happen, what should happen, and what will happen. And we're not doing too well overall, but we're getting better as the weeks go by. Scott leads with 6, then we got Joe at 5, and then me, I got 2, and that's why I'm the host, right? So, but last week I did get Walsh Jesuit beating Archbishop Holman, so hopefully I can build on that. So we'll start with what could happen this week. And I'm going to talk about Mayfield. I think that Mayfield could pick up a tough win against Stowe this week.
I think Glenville could be sitting in a playoff spot after beating Rhodes this week.
And Joe?
Maple Heights could hand Lorraine its second straight loss.
Now, over to what should happen. I think Elyria should keep things rolling, pick up a win of at least 20 points over North Royalton.
I think Mayfield and Stowe should combine for less than 30 points. I see that as a defensive game.
And Joe?
Hudson should lock up not only a first-round playoff home game, or a playoff spot, but also a home game in the first round.
I'm going to keep it with that game. Solon will lead Hudson at some point.
Ooh. I'm going to steal your format for that question from mine. I think Brunswick will lead Mentor at some point.
And Joe?
I've got Benedictine will score a defensive touchdown against NDCL.
All right. Well, let's see how our predictions hold up. I got a good feeling about all of us this week. And that's it here for NEO Varsity Live. We love that you were able to join us this week, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week. Remember, if you want to get involved before, during, or after the show, use the hashtag NEOVarsity or drop something down in the comment section, and it'll be live on the air. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.